So, am I going to dog this movie like every other YouTuber slash critic on the internet? Let's find out. Chase Liaki here with the Blue Futon reviewing Rebel Moon 2, The Scargiver. What's about? Pretty simple premise. Do you remember part 1 of Rebel Moon? This is literally right afterwards, and they're like, we succeeded! But then one guy's like, no, we didn't! And then all of a sudden, a big-ass battle on this planet. And that's really the premise of this movie. You don't get a lot of character. Okay, that's a lie. There is one scene where the guy's like, look, since we're here together, we all gotta know each other's backstory. So each of them has their own exposition of what their actual story is. And you're like, okay, we get to learn some of the characters. But other than that, this is a loud, bright, just popcorn, cotton candy of a movie, which there's way too much sugar, way too much salt, way too much flavor, and there's just way too much going on with nothing to show for it, unfortunately. So when talking about the positives, I would say some of the stunt work looks good, but then when you know a Zack Snyder film, a lot of it is CG. So even though some of it does like, oh, that's a pretty good stunt, you think how much of that is actually post-production, effects. So that really kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. I don't know what this story actually wants to do. And I think that is a kind of a negative, of course, where it's about a child, and this child had like 30 seconds into this movie. This movie, it was literally like supposed to be a conclusion, because how you like have Lord of the Rings 1, Lord of the Rings 2, Lord of the Rings 3, right? You have a slow to steady incline, and number 3, you have that badass battle sequence that's like nonstop, concurring, and you feel it this way. Here, they just throw you into battle, and you're just like, okay, I understand you're trying to just be bombastic, you're trying to do your slow motion, you're trying to get each character their badass, ab shot, their badass, sword fighting. But at a point, I need something of substance, because when some characters die in this film, you're like, cool, okay. When some people survive, you're like, cool, okay. And it's just too much going on screen. There's way too much effects, way too much, set pieces. There's this one where the Asian girl is doing her like sword battle. It didn't look good. It's too much effects, too much special effects, too much wire work, where you're supposed to focus on one thing on the screen, but there is so much going on. You're just like, what the fuck is happening? There's way too much going on. And that is the whole movie. There's just way too much going on. And with all the characters that are involved, you barely get to know any of the characters. Like I said, yes, you have some expositions with some of the other characters, but other than that, you're just like, ugh. Because there's that one character which he's like, in the first movie, he's like, fuck this army, and he goes with the villagers. He's rarely in this movie again. Like, the Anthony Hopkins robot character, you're just like, okay, you're in the movie, you see you're following people, but okay, yeah, you get your final hoorah scene at the end, but why should I connect with you? And that's with a lot of these, scenes, is like, why should I connect with you? And I don't know what Zack Snyder is doing with all of his movies. Have a director's cut, extended cut, a holy shit balls cut, and his normal cut. He needs to learn to have one cut. Yeah, I think it's cute and all to have, like, Dawn of the Dead, and all of a sudden that. Then Sucker Punch, which that one really never had in it. Then he has the Watchmen. He has the 2 different cuts of Watchmen. Then you have the 300, which I don't think there's a director's cut of 300, if I'm not mistaken. Batman v Superman, Justice League, it feels like he loves it. And now with Rebel Moon 1 and 2, where he's trying to say they're both NC-17 right now. So, okay, keep it fucking NC-17. Blonde was NC-17. Why are you scared of releasing this NC-17? Because at a point, it's going to stay on Netflix. Put it NC-17. Have an NC-17 movie and a PG-13 movie. And I think that's okay. So I don't know why he's scared to try to trim it down to R. Because like I said, Netflix already has an NC-17 movie out there. And it is NC-17 for a freaking reason. I've been mostly dogging this movie, but you could say it's a breeze. This 2-hour movie goes by so damn fast because there's so much going on that you're just like, oh. It's just so much to eat in your mouth that you just kind of forget that you're watching something. So when the credits roll, you're just like, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So we need to focus on this character that we thought was dead. We need to, then we had that character, which, was in the very beginning, and then finally told their story, and you kind of forget about them. And you're like, oh shit, that person's actually in battle. I totally forgot about that. So there's just a lot of characters and just a lot of unnecessary reasoning and just stupidity, especially like this guy that jumps on a ship. You're like, well, why would you do that? That logistically makes no goddamn sense. And just stuff like that and some objectives for these people are way too easy, especially with a bomb in the face. That's all I'm going to say, where you're just like, oh, no one's protecting this. It's just that simple to be like, ah, I'm going to pew, 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 and just fuck shit up. So, I mean, I know for a fact, I've seen on Facebook, you have a lot of Zack Snyder, like, defenders. And sure, be a defender. And if you like this movie, congratulations. I'm not going to dog you for liking this. But for me, there's way too much going on. Not enough substance. Too much style. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to get from this? Because it is like fireworks going off for 2 hours. Which I enjoy fireworks. Good. Give me a badass 20-minute fireworks show. But if this is a fireworks show for 2 hours, it starts getting kind of old, kind of quick. So Rebel Moon, the Scargiver, Part 2, will receive a 1.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals that 30%. So see the critics and user scores gave this one. So you have critics a 15% with 88 of them, audience score 52% with over 1,000. Critic consensus. Less a course correction than the compounding of everything that has tangled up its predecessor. The Scargiver is an uninvolving space opera full of flat notes. I think I said that critic consensus is completely wrong, but it is what it is. We are done with it. 30%, 1552. Chase Zack here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know if things Futontopia. You Futon take watch a great day. Now, like I said, I don't care if you watch this today, tomorrow, week, now, from blah, blah, blah. It just feels like Zack Snyder. If you wanted to make this RNC-17, just make it RNC-17, because you could totally feel that there is limitations that just shouldn't have.